Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. So maybe before we start, I can see a few of you. I can see Lufti, I can see Mohammed, I can also see Gokulesh. So maybe I can give you some few seconds to maybe introduce yourself. You can tell us your name, your company, and your position. So you can maybe unmute. Let's start with Lufti. Lufti, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Lutfi Abdul Wahab. I'm the head of admin and HR in Golden Africa.
Thank you, Lufti. Mohammed. I don't know if Mohammed can hear us. Okay. Gokulesh, maybe you can say hi, say your name, your company, and your position. Okay. Gokulesh, I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. So with me, we have a team from Valuemax as well. I can also give them a second to introduce themselves. So I can see Franklin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Franklin Odur. I'm an ISO consultant here at Valuemax, and I'm happy to be part of this session. And I hope you get to achieve the objective of you joining the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Franklin. Victor. Okay, thank you. So, welcome once again and thank you for joining us today. So, my name is Ivy Towet and I am the business developer at Valuemax Consulting Limited, and I'll be moderating today's session. So, for those who may not know Valuemax Consulting is a Nairobi-based ISO certification and management system consultancy with 20 years of experience and supporting organizations across Kenya, East Africa, and Somalia in achieving ISO standard certification. So before we begin, a quick note. This webinar is being recorded and the presentation will be posted on our YouTube channel afterward. So if you need to step away at any point, you don't have to worry. You'll be able to catch up later. So today's topic is integrating ISO 9001 with your businesses. And I promise you by the end of this session, you'll walk away with practical insights you can start applying right away. So it's now time to introduce the person you're all here to listen to today. So our speaker today is Catherine Bogu, our ISO 9001 lead auditor here at Valuemax. Catherine has more than 10 years of hands-on experience guiding organizations through ISO 9001 implementation and certification. And she has worked closely with businesses across different industries to help them build quality management systems that actually work, not just on paper, but in practice. What I appreciate most about Catherine is how she breaks down what can seem like a complex standard into simple, practical steps that any business, big or small, can apply. So I can assure you that all of you are in good hands today. So Catherine, over to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Ivy, for that beautiful introduction. Kindly confirm that I'm audible before I proceed.
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, you're audible. Good, thank you. Um, Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. As Ivy has introduced me, my name is Catherine Bogle, ISO 9001 Lead Auditor at Valuemax Consulting Limited. I'm delighted to have this conversation with you, or this discussion on how to integrate ISO 9001 with businesses. So we are going to look at how can we practically integrate quality in our businesses. We know many organizations are ISO certified, but the important question we should ask ourselves is that, is our quality management system actually helping our business run better? So that's the main question today. For those who are ISO certified, for those who are looking into getting certification, how ISO 9001, we are going to look at how ISO 9001 will help or can help you improve in your processes, help you manage risks, improve customer satisfaction, and help even manage or management to make better decision. So I'm going to share my screen. Ivy, kindly confirm when whether it's visible and clear.
Not yet.
Right.
Yeah,
Let
we
me
can.
know. Good. So this is what we are going to discuss today. And we are going to explore, or the goal is to understand how ISO 9001 will help, or in this case, ISO 9001 is not a separate system created for certification alone, but is a tool or management tool that can help or can be integrated into our organization to help in our day-to-day operations. So we are going to look at, or we are going to cover 4 main areas. One, or firstly, we'll discuss or understand briefly what ISO 9001 is, or what is this mean. Ivy, kindly confirm that the screen is at the agenda,
Yes,
the
yes.
slide. Okay, thank you. So we are going to discuss on quality management system, or ISO 9001 integration, what it actually means. Then thirdly, we'll also explore on the integration, how how can we integrate this into our businesses. And then finally, we are going to look at practically how can we integrate, or how can organization integrate ISO 9001 in their daily business activities. So as we go through this presentation, or as I share my slides, I will encourage you to think about your own organization. Think of if you have an organization yourself, or working with a certain organization, or you are looking into even starting your own business. Ask yourself whether ISO 9001 can be integrated into your business, and also those who have been ISO certified, how have you integrated ISO 9001 into your business? So briefly, let's understand ISO 9001, which is, of course, the standard has evolved over time, as you can see, from the first issuance, which was in 1987. And with time, there has been an evolution. The standard has evolved, and quality management integration in this case, we are going to look at in the latest issuance, which is 2015, which mainly focuses on leadership. And just to mention that ISO 9001 2026, the final draft has already been issued and approved, but the official release of the standard has not been done. And this is expected to be done in September 2026 this year. And once that is done, we'll also brief or even talk about it on the changes that not to talk about that today, because that's not the main focus. Once the standard is released, we'll be able to discuss more on that. So let's look at how we can integrate our businesses. And in this case, sometimes organization will implement activity. And this is something that we have a quality management department of employees that will be reminded of these procedures before the audit is, or before the audit has been scheduled. Management will also be involved when the certification audit is approaching. So these are some of the things that we have encountered as consultant, which should not be the case. And when you talk of integration, it means that we are integrating quality management system to become part of our business or everyday business operations. So when management develops a strategy, what we mean by integration is that quality is considered. Quality is involved. When we are managing or developing quality of strategic objectives, has quality objectives been incorporated? Have they been integrated to our strategic objectives in the organization? When a department identifies a risk, has the risk been managed? How has it been managed? What are the controls that have been put in place? When a customer complains, a good example, where a quality management system, the main focus is on customer satisfaction. When a customer complains, the organization should learn from that complaint. When KPIs show poor performance, in this case, management should take action. And in this case, we are talking of action on how we can achieve our KPIs or our set objectives. So ISO 9001 should currently, or should be, for those organizations that have been ISO certified, should be currently integrated into your business and managed not as a separate department, but everyday operations. And that is now what we are going to look at. How can we integrate that into our businesses? And before that, let's look at what does that integration mean? What do we mean by this integrating quality into our business or daily operations? And what this means is connecting our quality management with how our business actually operates. And in this case, for example, we have talked of, or I've given an business objectives. So if you want, for example, improve on customer retention, when it comes now to quality objective, the customer or quality objectives should ensure that they are supporting on customer satisfaction and delivery or service delivery of a certain product or service. So if a customer or if an organization, wants to reduce on cost, we are going to look at how or how can we process efficiency, how can we reduce on waste. So those are things to consider. If an organization objective is to expand as an opportunity, risk and opportunities associated with that expansion should be assessed. And that is what we are calling integration. Another way you can integrate quality into our operations is through department. Remember, some organization or many organizations, departments are interconnected. What do I mean by that is that for an output to be obtained, for a good service to be obtained or a product, there is that interaction or interconnection of organization for them to achieve that. An example is, for example, if sales receive an order, the finance may process a payment, procurement will purchase materials, operation will deliver on the service, customer service will collect on feedback. So these activities are connected. And that's why we are talking of that integration to the departments. That connection in between departments is very important. And finally, quality must be everyone's responsibility. And we talk of responsibility, it's not the responsibility of the quality champion, the quality manager. It is everyone's responsibility in the organization. So everyone who performs any process, who contributes in the production of a quality product or a quality service, must be involved. So that is what we mean by integration, quality integration into our businesses or in our operations. So let's look at how can we integrate ISO 9001 into our business. One is through our business strategy. Ways to integrate our ISO 9001 through our organization strategy. Every organization will have a strategy where they want to be, probably in the 2027, 2028, come year 2029, and so on and so forth. So integration of that quality management system is very important in that strategy. And how can we do that? Every strategy has its priorities. And what do I mean by this? Is, for example, one of your priorities in an organization is to increase revenue or expand your market or improve in customer satisfaction. All these are priorities that an organization would have. So the good question you should ask yourself is, does your quality management system support these priorities? For example, if you have a strategic goal to improve on customer retention, you need to monitor your customer satisfaction. Are you meeting your customer needs? What is the response time on your service delivery, on service performance? Those are things you should ask yourself. If the goal is to reduce on operational cost, you need to review the processes. Good example. Reduce on rework of maybe there are reworks that are involved in the operations. There is need for reduction in that. In case there is production, reduce on waste, and so on and so forth. So quality objectives should not be a separate or should not exist separately. It should be integrated into our business objectives. And this will contribute to an achievable business strategy. And through that, management review should also look at what is quality management system performance and also the overall business performance. So when you're talking of management reviews, which is one of the requirements in the standard, is the management or top management should be able to review QMS performance and also the overall business performance. And that is how you are able to integrate ISO 9001 into our business strategy or our strategic plan. Another way you can integrate our quality to our business is through understanding our organizational context. And this is, you are able to understand internal and external issues that can affect our organization or your organization. Ability to achieve the intended results. If the objective is to serve your clients diligently or meet their expectations, you're able to understand what are our issues internally and external. For example, some of the internal issues that can affect any organization could be changes in customer requirements, Technology is also an external issue that can affect any business, competition, regulatory requirements. All these issues could be organization culture, competence of the employees, resources, internal processes, our organization structure. All these are things that can affect organization internally. So as a business, it's important for you to understand these issues and how are you able to handle the issues. For example, if it's regulatory requirements, have you met the regulatory authorities in your organization, depending on the industry you are in? So if the market changes, an example, the organization should review what are the risks and opportunities that can affect our organization or your organization. If new technology is introduced, how does it affect or what's the impact in your organization? If customer expectations change, depending on your target market, processes, for example, may need also to change as well. So any organization is important for them. Ensure that you understand these issues, the internal and the external issues that affect your organization. Another way you can integrate ISO 9001 into a business is to ensure that you understand your interested parties. And any organization does not operate alone. There is that interaction with different interested parties, including customers, employees, suppliers, regulators, also investors in your business. All these are interested parties in your organization. So for every organization, will have different. When you're talking of suppliers or partners, they influence majorly on the quality of any organization product or service. So understanding these interested parties helps your company identify what matters and what is needed for you to meet their needs. So that is also another way that you can integrate your quality management system or ISO 9001 into your business. Another way you can integrate quality into the business is have a risk-based thinking. And what do I mean by this? Is that every organization will have uncertainties. There are things that can go wrong, of course. There are also opportunities that can help your business even perform better. So when you have a risk-based thinking, helps organization think ahead. You are able to plan. You are able to understand on in case of any problem that may happen, you're able to ask yourself what could be the cause of that it can have in your organization. Do you have? So that is what we call risk-based thinking. And a good example is, for example, if you're operating or you are managing a hospital, you may identify risk related to patient safety. An example, if you are working or you have a manufacturing company, you'll identify, for example, a risk on equipment failure that we have put in place in case of this. So that is in case of any uncertainty that may affect your organization. Then we have customer focus, which is also a way that you can integrate your quality management system into your business. The heart of quality management system. And what I mean by this is that is customer requirement dictate. In this case, they have set their requirements. So if a customer complains on a particular or on a certain issue, for as an organization is for you to identify that or identify not mainly to solve the complaint, is what could be the root.
Kathy, maybe you can repeat a few because you're breaking. No. Not yet. Let's just give you some few minutes and sort it out. Let's give her some few seconds. She's experiencing issues with her laptop.
Ivy, I'm waiting for your updates.
Yeah, you're audible. You're audible
Whether
enough.
you can hear me now.
Lights.
Okay, let me know at what point I left. On which slide?
This slide on the customer focus.
Okay. Sorry, apologies for that. I had a problem with my connectivity. Allow me just to have my camera or video off so that probably maybe the connectivity will be better. So I was talking of customer focus. I don't know at what point I left the meeting, but I'll just briefly look at it from the beginning. And I was talking of customer focus is mainly the heart of quality management system. And what I mean by that, it mainly focuses on customer satisfaction. Are we meeting our customer needs? And it talks of even exceeding their expectation, that you're meeting their needs and exceed their expectation. The customer is important. No. And ensure that the processes are capable of consistently meeting this expectation. Our processes that we have set, are they helping us meet the customer requirements? For example, if their customer complain, if a customer complains of delays in deliveries, we should not simply respond to each of the complaint individually, but we should ask ourselves why the delays are occurring. Why do we have these delays? What could be the problem? Because it could be our processes. It could be our products, probably they are not meeting their expectation. And this is due to our process that are not consistent, or we have not defined what our processes are. So that is very important, and customer feedback should be able to tell us how we perform in meeting our customer requirements. So that collection of feedback, surveys, it could be through visits, is very important because they help or it helps improving our processes. And customer service department alone, this is not a customer service role. It involves every or the entire organization performance. So customer service is just a department to represent on that, but the entire satisfaction will mainly depend on the entire organization performance. So if customer focus is as a business strategy in this in any organization, it helps, or through that we are able to integrate ISO 9001 into our business. And you'll find that this has been done by many organizations where they focus on the customer, meeting their needs, and this is through ensuring that they are offering them quality services. Another way that you can integrate ISO 9001 into your organization is through process mapping. And this is a very practical way integrating ISO 9001 into your business through process mapping. And what do I mean by this? Is that you have defined your processes, and processes meaning, what does sales involve? What does procurement involve? If you're talking of recruitment, what does it involve? Service delivery, what does it involve? If we are talking of finance, what does it involve? What are the processes involved? What are the procedures? When we are talking of IT, what does it involve? And that is what we call process mapping, that we have identified what is our process from the initial activities, how departments interact, how they work in conjunction with each other until they get to the final output, or they get to the outputs. So process mapping will help you understand how the activities connect, how each of the activity connect in your business. It will help you understand what are the inputs, what are the activities involved, what are the outputs, who is responsible for what are the risks that can affect your business, what are the controls that you can put in place, and how performance will be measured. How will we monitor our performance? How will we be able to manage the risk through the controls? All this is what we call process mapping. And a good example is if sales promise to something to the customer, but operations are not because the operations are the one responsible for delivering it, and they do not deliver as the sales people promised. It means that we have a disconnect in our processes or mapping of our process. And if communication between the two departments is poor, the customer will receive poor experience. So process mapping is very important in an organization so that you're able to identify what or how each department is interconnected, and through that connection it makes even the business achieve their objective easily and smooth. So that is also another way that you can integrate your business or into quality. Another way is through documentation, and documentation is very important part in the quality management system or any management system. And a procedure, for example, which is part of the documentation, will help an employee understand how to perform activities consistently, because you have already defined they are accurate, they are practical. The user is able to understand what it means. And for example, when we have work instructions documented, it makes the task even easier to perform for any user or any employee in any department. A form is also another example of a documentation which has information that any organization needs to capture. For example, if you're talking of invoicing, you have a procedure on how invoicing should be done. What information do you need for you to invoice? If you're talking of a job card, what information do you require for you to perform a certain task, for you to perform a certain job in the organization? So these records are very reliable and are very evident, or they are used as evidence for completion of the activities. So problem may occur when an organization creates a documentation, and simply because they deliver it to the auditor, this is something that we also encounter. The documentation is mainly for the auditors to access or to see that we have this documentation, we have complied to this requirement, or we have documented our internal audits, we have documented our reports, there are checklists, there is a plan, but the actual implementation has not been done. So we are doing this just to comply to the or issue to the auditor, but not for our own operation, which should not be the case. So the objective of having useful documentation is very important. So documentation or records are not for the sake of, issuing to the auditors or showing to any other interested parties who could be interested in documentation. It should serve to streamline our processes, our procedures as we use. So with smooth or good documentation, it will help or support our business operate consistently. So that's another way that you can also integrate quality into your businesses. Another way you can integrate quality is through employee engagement, which is very important because the employees are the center of every organization process. We can have the processes in place, but without employee engagement, it's all in vain. And even the best of the best quality management system design will not work if the employees do not understand what is their responsibility or see the value of the system itself, quality management system. If they are not seeing the value, the quality management system will not work. So employees need to have very clear responsibilities defined. They have right competence. What do I mean is that they match the responsibilities assigned. If you're talking of probably an operations manager, have a certain competence matrix that you have met as set by the organization. We are talking of experience, of the skill set. Have they met that or those competence? Resources are also important. Appropriate resources that they may require for them to perform certain tasks, important for employee engagement. Training. And trainings in this case, employees, you may find that employees are repetitively making certain mistakes. As an organization, we should not assume that training is the answer. We should also ask ourselves whether our processes are, whether the employees has the right resources, because we might be blaming on the employee, but probably they do not have the right resources to perform the work. So we ask ourselves whether the processes are clear, the resources are right, the ones that we have. Do they have adequate instructions, or they are guided in the right way? And you'll find that the employee feedback are extremely variable. Why? Because they are the ones doing the work. And where there are weaknesses, they are also able to provide solutions to those weaknesses. So that is also another way that we can integrate quality management system into our business through employee engagement. Engage the employees, identify the areas of improvement. How can we serve our client better? Is through the employee feedback that also will be able or be valuable for identifying those improvement opportunities. So we have discussed several ways that you can integrate your business into quality management system. And as we come to the end of the discussion, let's ask ourselves, in any organization that you are working with, or any organization or company that you own, or you're starting to or thinking of even starting that business, is that ISO 9001 is not a document mainly for auditors. No, it is a system that should help your organization perform or improve your business in your processes, in serving your clients better, and also ensuring that you meet your customer requirements. And in this case, ensure that the strategic objectives that you've set as a company, you have connected them with the quality objectives. You have connected your processes across the departments. You have identified risks and opportunities. You have identified risks, and also through the risk-based thinking, you are able to make even better decision for your company. Engage your employees. Ensure that you measure their performance, identify areas of improvement, and also use the management system to identify opportunities for improvement. Because through, for example, management reviews, internal audits, any criteria that you have used to measure or monitor performance of quality management system, you are able to identify areas of improvement, or how can you continuously improve as an organization. So in conclusion of this, quality is not about the quality manager or the quality champion alone. It will involve everyone in the organization. So it's everyone's responsibility. And as Valuemax Consulting, if you need any support to implement or integrate quality management system into your business, we'll be able to assist you on that or support you in that. So do not hesitate to contact us in case of any assistance that you may require in that area. So at this junction, I will encourage, I'll be happy to answer, of course, through that we require my attention. And thank you so much for joining today, and I look forward to engaging with you. So Ivy, let me know whether we have any question.
Okay. Thank you so much, Catherine, for that insightful breakdown of how to integrate ISO 9001 into everyday business. So, yes, I can see one question from Sami. He's asking about the ISO 9001 2026 to be released. What are the additional requirements? Maybe Catherine, you can take over that one.
All right. Thank you, Sam. The release of the final draft of ISO 9001 to 2026, there are several additional requirements that have been incorporated, and one of them is on climate change, which was proposed in 2024, incorporation of climate change into the standard. In this case, that we need to consider climate change factors into quality management system. And there are several additional requirements that have been made in different requirements. For example, they are talking of the 2015 standard was mainly talking of had not really insisted in clause 6 on planning of risk and opportunities. It was mainly insisting on risks, but clause in the 2026, there is that emphasis on even the opportunity for any organization. So equally as risks had been insisted in the or emphasized in 2015, it is also the opportunities in 2026 had also now been emphasized. And there are several changes. Probably some we can outline them or share with you all those requirements, but there are several changes in different requirements that have been incorporated. But the main one is mainly on climate change and also the bit on digital or with the changes in technology, that is the IT part.
Okay, Sami, I hope that was well clarified. Thank you for the reaction. And this is also to remind all the participants that this is an interactive session. So if you have any burning question, anything that you need to be clarified, this is your chance to ask Catherine. So maybe I can give you 2 or 3 seconds to ask the questions.
And also maybe it's good to mention some that be in the lookout. Once the standard has been released, we'll be able to discuss more about it, even briefly for each of the requirements, discuss on the changes that have been now incorporated in the standard.
If you have any question, you can unmute or you can also ask the question in the chat box. So before we wrap it up, we'd love to hear from you. So we are going to use a poll to get your feedback, and the poll on the screen. So you can take 1 or 2 minutes to answer the poll. Okay, thank you for, I can see we are still answering the polls. So maybe to give you a brief about Valuemax, for those who are new. Okay, we have some questions on the Catherine, can't hear you.
Yes,
Maybe.
Sam, I've seen your question at the comment 27.
Yeah,
I at the briefing of okay, what about now? Okay. I was answering the question from Sam, that is Sammy, on the training to take place in 2026. Yeah, of course we can organize that. And also in 2027, I mean, sorry, 2026 we'll brief on the changes that have been incorporated in the standard. That is what I was trying to say, that after the release, there'll be a webinar on what changes have been incorporated in the standard itself. Then a training we can organize, of course. You can contact us for that training. Would be happy to engage or train you on that.
Catherine, there's another question from Sol Monoko. What is your advice on the implementation of ISO? Do we wait for the new standard or just progress with the current one meanwhile?
All right. Sol, thank you so much. Sol is one of our clients in the process of implementation of the standard. Wait for the new standard to be released, because implementation, remember, is for you need to comply to the requirements of the standard, and these the changes that have been made can be incorporated even after the release of the standard. So it does not mean that once the issuance of the standard has been released, that's when you can start the implementation. No. Remember, even after the release, any organization, even those who have been ISO certified, they are offered a period of 3 years for them to comply. So if it's released in 2026, you have until 2029 to comply to the new release of 2026. And through surveillance audits that are done every year, you are able to identify the gaps as per the new issuance of the standard, so that you're able now to comply to the new release. That is 2026. So my advice, Sol, is don't wait for the new standard. Just progress with the current one. In the one, once it's released, because already as consultant, we already know what has been incorporated. We can even assist or agree on those or advise you on those new requirements that have been incorporated for you to comply. But remember, once it has been released, you have that 3-year period for you to comply. So I hope I've answered your question. And thank you for those questions.
Is there anyone else with a question? Don't be left out. Okay, thank you so much, Catherine. We have gained. There is another question from Vonex. Catherine, what objective evidence demonstrates competence beyond training records? Maybe you can take over that too.
All right. Thank you, Vonex. Valuemax is also from a company that we have assisted in implementation and certification. That is several companies. Thank you for attending the webinar. So one of the objective evidence to demonstrate competence is training records. But we can also have, for example, if beyond training records, there are things to do with, for example, there are things to do with the competence matrix, an example, which will demonstrate on the skills that probably each personnel has, the educational experience, the qualification that one has, their certifications, evidence can be through evaluation. A training has been done, we have the training records, was an evaluation done, was certification issued. So those are also other things that you can demonstrate competence beyond the training records. Thank you. Thank you, Bonnet. Thank you, Sol. I've seen your response. Bonnet, I hope I've answered the question. There is competence matrix that will define the skills, the qualification, and will be verified through the employee's files. Do they have this? If their qualification, the certificates are available. If their skills, are they demonstrated even in their performance of work? If their experience, of course, through also the employee file will be demonstrated in that. Training and evaluation can be done.
Catherine, we also have another question from Sami. Can internal audits be used as training effectiveness tool?
Internal audit be used as training effectiveness tool. Now, remember, internal audits is a tool on performance evaluation, how you perform or you evaluate whether quality management system is effective in your organization. So when we talk of as a tool, as a training effectiveness tool, probably unless you are evaluating or as an auditor, you are checking on whether a training on a specific, probably a training on a certain topic, was it effective through checking the records on, was the training achieved, evaluation was done, has it been effective to the whoever is being trained, on whether the training was you identified a gap and training was one of the corrective action to be taken, was it effective? So through internal audits, you're able to check whether the training was effective as a corrective action that was probably identified on a particular non-conformance. So yes, it can.
There's a comment from Sami. Thanks, that's well answered. Okay.
Thank you, Sami.
Okay, thank you so much for the interactive session, for the questions. From the questions and from the insights that Catherine has given us, I've also gained a lot. And what I've gotten from this session is that ISO 9001 isn't about paperwork for its own sake. It's about building a system that catches up problems. Catherine has mentioned about risk-based thinking, and also that is something that I've gained. And also ISO 9001 is also about keeping your customers satisfied so that they can always come back. So maybe to give you a brief about Valuemax, um, let me share my screen. So for those who are new here today, maybe I can give you a brief about Valuemax. Mm. Yeah, so thank you so much for being our hero. You have invested a lot of your resources, that's money, time, and a lot is at stake. So maybe what you as a client or our client is asking yourself is, how do you consolidate your success and how do you align your processes? So there are very many challenges that come with success, because processes tend to become a lot, procedures become many, policies, systems, alignments to strategy and regulations. So Valuemax is always here to help you to consolidate your success and also align your processes. So what we believe in as Valuemax, we believe in integrity. All our services, we always act in honesty, fairness, and ethical standards, and we offer confidential advices that serve your interest. We also believe in competence because we provide the best possible advice and support to help our clients to achieve their full potential. We also work in teamwork. Our experienced professionals share a common goal, that is helping our clients succeed. And together with the client, we are a team. We also believe innovation, since we develop creative solutions, ensuring new and old systems work together to achieve your goals. So our mission, basically what we do as Valuemax, we champion change, we new ideas, that is new ideas that bring improvement, success, new systems, new approaches, and new thinking. So our vision, uh, delivered organizational excellence. We aspire to be a top consulting firm in Africa that is recognized for excellence and delivering promises along the way. Some of the services that we as Valuemax offer, we offer ISO, guiding and implementation and certification. Uh, One of the main ISO standard is ISO 9001, that is quality management system, and that is what we have talked about today in our session. We also offer internal audits and reviews of management systems, strategic planning, project management using Valuemax, that is by Blue Rock, setup and training on Zoho projects, transaction advisory, training and training in the above areas. So our business approach, we use a 5-step approach in all our engagements. First, we understand our client's need. And when we talk about understanding our client's need, we get to know their current practices, and we get also to check the requirements of the international standards, and that's when we come up with a gap analysis report, and then we agree on the objective and deliverables, and then we develop on an action plan that is in consultation with the client, and then we implement the plan. After that, we are going to discuss the findings, evaluate, and learn from and document the new approach. So we have served many clients, and among them are some of the ones that you can see from the screen: Bayana, Impisha, Control Tech, Farmbridge, Darubini, and among others. So our team are passionate about business and consulting work. They're disciplined to listen and serve clients. They are multi-talent team. That is, they have professional certificates, the local and international training. They have experience working in Kenya and other countries, that is Rwanda, Djibouti, United Arab Emirates, Tanzania, Somalia, and they are refined analytical and communication skills. Our partners are Accurate Global, that is an ISO certification body, and it's based in USA. and we are their official representatives in Kenya and East African region. We have also partnered with Valuemax by Bluerock, which is an all-in-one project management software. And Valuemax is the first certified implementation partner in East Africa. And we have also partnered with Zoho. We are a trusted Zoho project partners, and we assist you in integrating Zoho project into your process seamlessly. So our overall implementation approach, we have phases, and under those phases, there are key activities. So our phases are always inception stage, implementation stage, and certification and maintenance stage. Under the inception stage, the key activities are inception meeting, introductory training where we offer awareness training, gap analysis and mapping of the process. And what we expect from the clients from this stage is top management commitment and active participation that is from the employees and everyone that is involved. And in the implementation stage, the key activities are definition of processes and criteria, capacity building, risk assessment planning, strategy, and objective. And what we expect from the client here is commitment to change, since there are many changes, ownership of processes, and participation in activities. And the last stage is certification and maintenance. So here there is approvals and implementation, certification audits, maintenance and surveillance audits. And what we expect from the client, that is you, is commitment to improvement and embedding change. So let us know what you do, let us know your processes, what are the challenges that you face that is in relation to our services, and then we are going to prepare a proposal, and after that we're going to discuss and agree on a plan, and let us work together. So that brings us to the end of today's webinar. So before we go, a few quick notes. The full presentation slides will be shared with you via email, so you don't need to worry about taking it down. Once again, a big thank you to Catherine for such a clear and practical presentation on integrating ISO 9001 into your businesses. So Catherine, your depth of knowledge really came through today, and I'm certain everyone on this call lives with confidence. So thank you to everyone, and that comes to the end of today's session. You're free to leave the call whenever you're ready.